Hey, what's going on people? It's SGZ here from the SpartanGameZone, and in this video I'll be counting down the top 10 recently buffed legendaries from the big December 17th hotfix. This hotfix was the first to purely target DLC weapons, buffing 17 of them across DLC 1 and 2. They weren't small buffs either. Most of them are now incredibly good, and I'll be going over the 10 best guns as we work our way to number 1. I'll be telling you what happened to them, where you can get them, and describe what they do and how you can make them powerful. And do let me know in the comments what gun you were most pleased to see buffed. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you could drop a like, and if you find yourself watching my content and you're not subscribed, it'd be great if you could hit that sub button. If you want to support the channel even further, you can head to nexus.gg/SpartanGameZone. This is my storefront where every purchase here supports me as a creator, and you can even tip during checkout. If you don't have the first 2 DLCs, now's a great time to get them thanks to this hotfix, and why not get it here? And let's crack into it. We open this countdown of the top 10 recently buffed weapons from the big DLC weapon buff with the Ion Laser, a DLC 1 SMG that can come in every element and has an increased chance to drop from Evil St. Lawrence, found around here in the Spendopticon. The Ion Laser is a very similar gun to the Laser Sploder, doing pretty much the same thing but in a different way. They both fire a continuous elemental beam, but instead of firing splash damage orbs alongside it, they're instead fired once you release the trigger. The longer you hold it down, the more orbs are released, culminating in a large burst of damage after any extended fire. It had its damage buffed yet again, making it a worthy gun capable of doing good damage against tough enemies, but it doesn't shake the room. Nevertheless, it still comfortably handles Mayhem 10. Up next, it's the Heartbreaker, a fast-firing DLC 1 Hyperion shotgun that can come in every element except for radiation and kinetic, and has an increased chance to drop from Gorgeous Armada, found around here in the compactor. The Heartbreaker fires 8 or 16 heart-shaped projectiles depending on the version, and with all that love, they also heal you, a trait often seen in Moxie weapons. Not only was its damage raised considerably, but also was its healing factor, so much so that a single shot can easily restore much of your health. That's a great feature to have on Moze and Flak, but it's just a side note to its raw power. This is what the Butcher should be, railing off high damage shotgun rounds quickly and becoming more accurate as the mag expands. You can't go wrong with this gun, it's perfectly well rounded with the bonus healing effect. Now for the Hydra Frost, your classic COV monster, which is exclusive to DLC 2 and can only be obtained by defeating Chivalrous the Unscathed, a respawn enemy that you can find around here in Neglige. I had this gun picked for my top underrated weapons a while back, suggesting it was always good, but it is now better thanks to its 26% damage buff. It always annihilated opponents, but now does so with less bullets required. After a kill, it used to deal double shock or incendiary damage for 6 seconds, but now it deals double shock and incendiary damage for a longer period. Get a kill then and this thing will light up, freezing, burning and shocking enemies simultaneously. If you didn't know what your enemy was weakest to, then shoot them with this gun because it pretty much has all bases covered. It can come in multiple variants, all with differing ammo requirements, and ammo is what holds it back and why it isn't further up this list, but whatever one you get, it'll do heavy damage in no time at all when you have time with it. The Boomer takes its place at number 7, a dull SMG that is exclusive to DLC 1 and has an increased chance to drop from the prime nest of scrap traps around here in the compactor. The Boomer can come in incendiary or non-elemental with a rapid fire rate and also deals splash damage. I guess that's why they call it the Boomer, or maybe its name is Karen. If no one's letting you talk to the manager, then why not blast them with this gun? It deals some incredible damage completely alien to how it was pre-patch, and in many ways putting the Calcin to shame. It's great on Moes who can amplify the size and damage of each explosive round, but it's going to easily deal with a pack on every Vault Hunter. It's time for number 6, and it's the Slow Hand, a splash damage shotgun from DLC 1, which can be obtained the fastest by defeating DGN 3, located here in the Impound Deluxe. The Slow Hand is another Moxie gun, so it also has that healing factor, capable of restoring full health in a single shot since the hotfix, and its damage was buffed also. It fires small elemental explosive rounds that leave a trail in flight. After impacting your target, they will explode shortly thereafter, ripping chunks out of their health bar. It consumes 2 or 3 bullets per shot, firing 1 or 2 projectiles each trigger pull that cover a wide area upon detonation. You have to be careful not to down yourself with it, but if you can avoid doing that, there's a lot of damage potential here for everyone. Halfway through now with the Insider, an alien barreled Maliwan shotgun exclusive to DLC 2, which doesn't have a dedicated drop source but can be farmed for the quickest by targeting Tom and Zam around here in Heart's Desire. The Insider didn't get a big buff, probably didn't even need a buff, but it got one, so here I am talking about it. It comes in multiple pellet variants consuming 2, 3 or 4 bullets per shot, with the option to come with the abundant prefix, which favours mag size over damage. What version you'll want depends on your playstyle, with the binary version lasting the longest with the highest damage to bullet ratio. It fires piercing elemental projectiles that travel right through your enemies and explode on contact with the world's surface. There's plenty of pellets there to blast away many opposition, dealing great damage on all Vault Hunters, but definitely better suited to Moes, who can extend the time you have with it, which isn't that long thanks to its ammo consumption. Its recoil is violent, making it hard to control at times, but its DPS is consistently favourable. In 4th place is the Cheap Tips, a Hyperion SMG with a gambling problem. It can come in any element including non-elemental, and has an increased chance to drop from Jackpot atop the VIP tower. When I picked this gun up for testing, I saw it had potential immediately, but not as much as this. Its unique effect causes casino chips to spill out of whoever you're shooting at, which litter the floor around them. Walking over them will automatically pick them up, allowing you to cash in on the damage, as each chip boosts gun damage for 12 seconds, and players like Zane, who can up its fire rate, will produce more chips quicker, and therefore a higher DPS. The amount of casino chips was the only thing that was buffed here, but let me tell you, it's easy to get rich at this blackjack table. When stacked with enough casino chips, this thing deals monstrous damage. It'll simply annihilate your foes, but you will have to work for it. Collecting chips means getting up close and personal, which is dangerous, but collecting enough of them quickly will put all those worries to rest. Moving on now to number 3, and it's the Clairvoyance, which is exclusive to DLC 2 and can only be obtained by defeating Critchy. You fight around here in Curse Haven. The Clairvoyance is a Jacob's weapon that always comes in cryo. It's typically semi-automatic, but it does come in a fully automatic version through the Gatlin prefix, and you can even get a masher variant as well, which makes it fire multiple projectiles. It's the one I'm using here, and it's the highest single shot damage variant. The Clairvoyance can see explosions in your enemy's future, as each critical shot will stick a bomb to them that they can't shake off. Stick multiple one after the other, and they'll explode in unison, dealing incredible amounts of damage and ricocheting projectiles to nearby enemies. Its base and explosive damage combined with the Jacobs manufacturer trait make it a formidable weapon across the board against bosses and a pack of mobs. It didn't need the buff, but it got a big one, and it's incredibly well suited to flak due to its affinity at landing crits, but it will work wonders on all Vault Hunters, now more than ever. In second place, perhaps surprising to some, is the Imbec Purge, a rare legendary weapon that can only be obtained by completing Ember's crew challenges, which you'll find throughout DLC 1. It's a unique SMG that has a special effect unlike any other. Shooting an enemy enough will cause a pool of lava to spawn beneath them, which is incredibly hot to step on. That pool of flaming fury was what got buffed through the hotfix and now deals brutal damage over time. If your enemies are caught standing in it, don't expect them to be there for long, as they'll literally disintegrate before your very eyes. Its bullet damage is decent either way, but the real party here is in that puddle of trouble. Whoever is caught languishing in the lava won't have a great time at all, and that includes bosses whose health bars will simply melt away. Before number 1 is uncovered, let's dive into some honourable mentions. The first one I have for you is the Scoville, which can be obtained by completing the Torg marketing mistake challenges throughout DLC 1. The Scoville didn't get a traditional damage buff, rather its ammo consumption was halved, essentially making it twice as good, but not really. Bottles of hot sauce are fired out of its barrel, which bursts apart with tremendous force. This thing's splash damage radius is enough to make the Nukem blush, making it very capable at dealing with tightly packed groups. It's great against flesh too, as the hot sauce is damn hot, burning away the flesh of your enemies, and I hear it goes good with some barbecue skag too. The last honourable mention I have is the Lucky 7, which really didn't get a proper buff, and that's why it's down here instead of near the top. It's a luck-based Jacob's pistol that has an increased chance to drop from Scrap Trap Prime, who again you fight here in the compactor. The Lucky 7 has 5 possible rolls which enhance its capabilities. Those bonuses include explosive rounds, always critical ricocheting amp shots, elemental type, fully auto, and 7 pellets. The chance to get one of these was previously 25%, but that has been raised with the hotfix, making it a better gun for anyone who's not Moe's or who can't infinitize their magazine, because it's absolutely unreal with the god roll. Is this what I think it is? Of course it is, number 1, and it's none other than the Soulrender, a dull assault rifle that can come in any element including non-elemental. It's another rifle exclusive to DLC 2 which can only be dropped from either Tom or Zam. You fight around here in Heart's Desire. The Soulrender is an extremely well-rounded gun, dealing good damage at a high fire rate, and it also periodically fires purple skulls that'll home in on your target. These skulls got a big boost to their damage thanks to the buff, and now hit harder than ever. The DPS of the Soulrender was always good, but now it's heavily accented by its unique effect, which also gives it that splash damage factor. On Moe's, the skulls just decimate opponents, and because they seek out your enemies on their own, there's really no need to aim, other than, well, all that bullet damage you'll miss out on. Either way, the Soulrender is a fantastic weapon, much better than before, although it was always great, and will do serious work for everyone. So that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned of the top 10 legendary weapons that received a buff thanks to the December 17th hotfix. If you did, consider dropping a like or subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one.